Welcome back to the channel. So we have almost completed the install. We've got everything going. It does start up. We haven't ran it for longer than a few seconds. I am going to crank it for you here shortly. So we've got no leaks or anything so far. That Bosch intercooler pump down there seems to really be kicking some butt. Whenever it kicks on it, you can really see that pump going, flowing really good. So we've got this kind of makeshift right now. We needed something short enough so we could get everything in here. This our map connector here is real short. So this thing goes at the end. So the longer we make the cold air intake, the longer the cord's gonna, or the pigtail or sensor wire or whatever is gonna have to be to plug this thing up. All right, so this is just like a one of the card style later model sensor for the MAF, and we just capped it off so no air would get in it. So just never mind that. Right now we're having a little bit of an issue with a sealing problem right here. This is a 103 throttle body. Now this thing's ported out to probably 107, I think. I don't know. It's ported out to a huge number. I know it's more than 105, but we may have to switch to a 105 throttle body just to have enough meat to, and you know, so our gasket will seal that. Plus you got to remember, we got boost, and this thing is sucking very hard through here. It'd be even worse if we were centrifugal on the belt, and it would be pushing through the intake and trying to blow out that hole. There's not really a hole there. It's just the throttle body, the same. It's a 103 throttle body gasket. It's just, I don't think there's enough meat there after Kong ported it out for a 103 to work. I could be wrong. We're gonna try and use a 105 throttle body gasket, which I hope will come out more along the edge. If that don't work, we're definitely gonna have to go to a bigger throttle body in order to seal that snout. So we've done all the wire covering. We took the IAT sensor loose from the MAF airflow sensor. We took and ran it over to this side. This is one of the new MAP, the MAP MAP. Well, it's actually IAT. It's your intake air temperature sensor is located down in here, and it used to be part of the MAF, which is your mass airflow. Instead of it being one sensor now, it's just mass airflow here, and now it's intake air temperature down there. So we're not having any other issues. We did use a earlier style Gen 3 block on here, iron or steel, whatever, steel block, and we do have a cam button back there. So we moved the cam sensor into the front. We pressed on, we took off the 24X reluctor and pressed on a 58X reluctor on the crankshaft. Actually, we just heated it up 450 degrees, slid right on. Made sure it was clocked perfectly. We're gonna eventually do some modifications to our fuel line here. We're really anxious to see this thing go. And of course, this line's too long. We're gonna tidy a lot of this up. I haven't done all the wiring completely yet. You see some of it's still kind of ugly. Tonight, before I go home here, I'm just gonna start putting the bumper back on, the front end back on. Since we've already did the vacuum test on the pump, we used all water wetter. We filled the whole thing up with water wetter with no water. So we want this thing to run as cool as possible. This setup was designed for a stock LS2, pushing 5-6 pounds of boost. So this thing is now exported by Com, and it's on a 408 stroker with AFR cathedral port heads, and I believe they're 245 heads. So it's making a lot of power before you put the boost on, and more than likely we're going to end up trying to spin it a little bit more to make more boost, and end up having to put injectors on it. Probably going to run out of fuel. I think it's got 50s on there right now, which I think we can get away with some pretty good numbers with 50s. And that's another thing I'm going to clean up. We had the coil packs mounted back there, and I had them backwards, so we just ended up pulling all this stuff that was hidden back out and swapping the coils around. But I promised y'all a startup. Now it has a minimal tune. I did put the injector data in here after I got the serial number off the injectors. Turning the motor over. Got the Brian Tooley Stage 4 PDS cam, so I was going to try to find the surgery just a little bit. Trying to run it too long. That cam really does sound good for a blower cam. I think that's enough for now. We need to get this thing tuned.